Very good morning. Thank you for tuning in to Monday's edition of Quick Morning. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. After the PDP chief, it's Omar Abdullah who's expressed support for Lebanon, particularly the Hezbollah group. Let's take a look at the top stories that you're tracking this Monday morning. National Conference leader Omar Abdullah has called on the Union government and Prime Minister Modi to pressure Israel to halt the bloodshed in Palestine and Lebanon. His statement comes after the recent killing of Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah. Abdullah even condemned Israeli aggression and urged the international community to intervene, criticizing the ruling BJP for the deteriorating security situation in Jammu, attributing a rise in terror activities, further saying that the government failed to deliver on development in Jammu and Kashmir.
उसके बाद ऐसा लगता है जैसे पूरे क्षेत्रों में अब जंग के बादल जो है नजर आ रहे हैं। हिंदुस्तान की हुकूमत को, हिंदुस्तान के वजीर आज़म को, बाकी मुल्कों के लीडरान को इजराइल पर दबाव बनाए रख के वहां दोबारा अमन कायम करने की मुकम्मल कोशिश करनी चाहिए।
While addressing a rally, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh emphasized that every Indian government has urged Pakistan to shut down terror camps on its territory, but to no avail, further warning Pakistan not to underestimate the current resolve of the government, and added that India is now prepared to combat terrorism not only within the border but if necessary by taking action on the other side as well. In fact, his statements come a day after External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar condemned Pakistan's cross-border terrorism policy at the UNGA.
कि अपनी जमीन पर चलने वाले टेररिस्ट ट्रेनिंग कैंप को बंद करो, मगर आज भी वह बाज नहीं आ रहा। आर्टिकल 370 खत्म होने के बाद भी पाकिस्तान इस समय पहुंचाया और बराबर वह कोशिश कर रहा है कि फिर से नफरत करने का आलम इस जम्मू कश्मीर में गया। वो नहीं चाहता है जम्मू कश्मीर में जमहूरियत मजबूत हो। मेरे दोस्तों,
a special court in Kolkata will today hear CBI's request for narco-analysis of Sandip Ghosh, the former principal of Arnab College and Hospital. The court will also consider the CBI's plea for polygraph test on the former officer in charge of the Tala police station, Abhijit Mondal, in the case. Meanwhile, the West Bengal Junior Doctors Front organized a torch rally from the Arjikar Hospital to Sham Bazaar demanding justice for Abhaya. The junior doctors announced that they would decide on resuming a complete cease work in medical colleges after observing the state government's assurances regarding their safety and security during top court's hearing that will take place today. The government plans to introduce 3 bills to facilitate simultaneous elections, one nation, one election. That is, this will include 2 constitutional amendment bills, while one bill aims to align local body elections with Lok Sabha and state assembly elections. The second one will focus on enabling simultaneous elections for local bodies without needing state approval. Additionally, a third ordinary bill will amend provisions for union territories within legislative assemblies to synchronize their election terms with the Lok Sabha and state assemblies. This initiative, in fact, seeks to implement one nation, one election in 2 phases. First for the Lok Sabha and state assemblies, followed by local bodies within 100 days of general elections. In fact, the proposed changes encompass 18 amendments and new provisions across various articles and laws. Union Minister Chirag Paswan stated that the LJP party leader Ram Vilas is exploring options for the upcoming elections in Jharkhand. In fact, this note includes a possibility of contesting as a part of the alliance or as an independent as well, further highlighting the party's strong mass base in the region, noting its historical connection to his birthplace and his father's work as well in the region. Paswan further confirmed the party has decided to participate in the elections and that discussions on the final approach will be concluded by the time the election notification is issued.
देखिए, जैसा मैंने कहा कि हमारी राज्य इकाई इस विषय में चर्चा कर रही है। लोक जनशक्ति पार्टी रामविलास, हम लोग तमाम तरीके के विकल्प लेकर हम लोग आगे बढ़ने का काम कर रहे हैं। जिन विकल्पों में जहां एक तरफ गठबंधन के तहत चुनाव लड़ने की भी सोच है, तो वहीं अकेले लड़ने पर भी पार्टी विचार कर रही है।
Maharashtra Congress chief Arnab Goswami has announced that Mahavikas Aghadi, comprising of Shiv Sena, UBT, Sharad Pawar-led NCP faction and Congress would finalize its seat-sharing talks for the upcoming assembly polls by early next week. In fact, leaders will today convene today and tomorrow on agree on the formula. Patole even emphasized a united front for the elections, further criticizing the ruling Mahayuti alliance, questioning its leadership and addressing the Badlapur sexual assault case, accusing Chief Minister Eknath Shinde and Deputy Chief Minister of politicizing the entire matter. Father of jailed radical preacher Amritpal Singh, Terrorism Singh, has announced his plans to launch a new political party in Punjab. Terrorism Singh, father of Amritpal Singh, emphasized the need for a party that represents Punjab's interests than those dictated by the national capital, further stating that new party would adhere to principles of equality and address various issues facing the state. This move comes amid the upcoming assembly by-polls in 4 constituencies. Meanwhile, Amritpal, who was elected as an independent MP, remains in Dibrugarh jail under the National Security Act after being involved in violent incident last year in Punjab. All right, let's now take a look at the top business stories that we're tracking in Monday's edition of Quick Morning. The Indian government has approved the transfer of licenses for non-news and current affairs TV channels from Reliance Industries Viacom 18 Media to Star India. This follows a September 27th order by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. In fact, this transfer is part of a merger that will combine the media assets of Reliance and Walt Disney Company to create the largest media empire in the country. This is valued at more than 70,000 crore rupees. The merger involves compliance with conditions set by the Competition Commission of India, which is the CCI, and is currently in final stages. Reliance will even retain a 63.16% stake in the new entity and invest around 11,500 crore rupees to enhance its competitive edge against rivals like Netflix. Neeta Ambani will lead the joint venture and Uday Shankar serving as vice chairperson. L&T Semiconductor Technology plans to begin manufacturing its semiconductor products within the next 2 years. The company is establishing its chip manufacturing plants after reaching a revenue threshold between $150 million to $1 billion for various semiconductor technologies. In fact, currently L&T is developing terms for around 15 product designs. 6 of these designs are already underway and are expected to be launched by the end of next year. L&T aims to initially outsource production while evaluating the feasibility of setting up its own semiconductor units as it achieves the necessary revenue targets. In fact, the company is now considering different technologies, including 2 to 5 nanometers nodes for high-demand sectors like mobile devices and electric devices, while acknowledging the substantial investment that's required for establishing fabrication plants. According to an analysis by Axis Securities, electric vehicles are now becoming more accessible despite their higher upfront costs compared to internal combustion engine vehicles. This is due to government subsidies and declining battery prices. While initial costs remain elevated, EVs offer lower operational expenses over time, making them more economical in the long run. The report notes that improvements in the battery technology are helping reduce range anxiety, and the expanding EV charging infrastructure is increasing the viability of electric mobility in the country. Although internal combustion engine vehicles benefit from a stable resale market, EVs are also improving in this area as battery technology advances. Analysts predict that global trends, foreign investor trading activity and domestic macroeconomic data will significantly influence equity markets in the upcoming holiday-shortened week, with markets closed on Wednesday for Mahatma Gandhi Jayanti. Notably, September saw the highest foreign institutional investor, which is the FII, inflows into Indian equities this year itself, which will be closely monitored alongside commodity prices and US dollar index. Key domestic indicators such as monthly auto sales and PMI data for manufacturing and services are expected to drive stock-specific movements following a strong performance last week where the BSE Sensex hit a record peak. Analysts now anticipate continued positive momentum, particularly in frontline stocks. This is as investors prepare for the upcoming Q2 earning reports and consider the impact of external factors like Fed rate cuts and China's economic stimulus. The primary market is set for a surge with over a half a dozen companies including Hyundai Motor India, Swiggy, NTPC, Green Energy planning initial public offering IPOs to raise approximately 60,000 crore rupees over the next 2 months. Hyundai aims to raise 25,000 crore rupees, potentially marking the largest IPO in India, while Swiggy targets more than 10,000 crore rupees. Other firms like Afcons and Infrastructure and Vare Energies also have significant offerings planned. In September, foreign investors infused more than 55,000 crore rupees into Indian equities. This marks the highest inflow in 9 months and is largely driven by rate cut as well from the Federal Reserve. This influx pushed foreign portfolio investors, which is the FPI's total equity investments in India, beyond 1 lakh crore rupees for this year. Analysts expect continued robust FPI inflow supported by global interest rates easing and strong economic fundamentals for the country. And one of the top international stories that we're tracking is, of course, the tensions in the Middle East with the Israeli forces continuing with its offensive against the Hezbollah group. Let's take a look at the top stories in our international segment. Iranian lawmakers chanted against Israel at Iran's parliament a day after Hezbollah confirmed that its leader Hassan Nasrallah had been killed in an Israeli airstrike. Iran's parliament hardliner speaker pledged that the resistance front would continue to fight Israel. He added that US must accept the consequences of its support for Israel. Filipino workers in Lebanon appealed to their government to fast-track their return home as the security situation worsens in the Middle East. Workers said that they fear for their safety as fighting escalates between Israel and the Hezbollah terror group. The Philippine government is now bracing to evacuate thousands of Filipino workers in Lebanon in case the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah escalates further. Philippines officials have not yet ordered a mandatory evacuation of its citizens because it was still unclear whether a full-scale war would erupt, including an Israeli ground attack that is likely to come soon. Members of the Jamaat-e-Islami clashed with Pakistan security forces in Karachi after they were prevented from marching to the US consulate in the city. The demonstrators even took to streets to protest the killing of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah in Israeli airstrikes in Beirut. The killing of the terrorist group's longtime leader sent shockwaves across Lebanon and the Middle East, where he had been a dominant political and military figure for more than 3 decades. Nasrallah, linked by Israel to numerous deadly attacks on Israel and Jewish targets, had been on Israel's kill list for decades. Chinese President Xi Jinping awarded national medal on honorary titles to individuals who have made contributions to China's development as the country prepared to celebrate the 75th anniversary of its founding. A grand ceremony was held in Beijing ahead of 1st of October National Day to award the Medal of the Republic, Friendship Medal and other national honorary titles. Massive rains from powerful Hurricane Helene left people stranded without shelter and awaiting rescue as a cleanup drive began from tempests that killed at least 52 people, resulting in widespread destruction across US Southeast and left millions without power. The hurricane blew ashore in Florida's Big Bend region as Category 4 hurricane with winds up to 140 miles per hour.
I saw them suffer. I saw the tears. I saw the panic, I saw the shaking as people that have lost their homes. Knowing now, after what we went through with Idalia, there was no help. That they're not hopeful. Why would you be hopeful?
The Tennessee governor and other state and federal officials toured East Tennessee by helicopter, viewing a hospital where the day before people had to be evacuated from the roof to escape rushing flood waters. The officials even saw homes and buildings destroyed or underwater, bridges and roadways crumbled and water being released from a dam to relieve the reservoir. In fact, the hospital tried to evacuate 11 patients and dozens of others as the river overflowed its banks and flooded the facility, but the water was too treacherous for the boats to even sent by Tennessee Emergency Management Agency. At least 16 people were injured in an overnight barrage on the southern Ukrainian city of Zaporizhzhia after Ukrainian military leaders warned that Moscow could be preparing for a new military offensive in the country's south. The city was targeted by Russian guide bombs in 10 separate attacks that damaged a high-rise building and several residential homes. Ukrainian President Zelensky said that Zaporizhzhia attack had damaged the city's transport links, infrastructure and railway were also damaged. Protesters took to streets in Paris on Sunday to call for an end on the Israeli strikes in Lebanon. The protest comes as Israeli airstrikes across Lebanon killed dozens of people. Hezbollah even confirmed the death of deputy head of the terror group's Central Council, making him the 7th senior Hezbollah leader slain in Israeli airstrikes in little over a week. They include founding members who had evaded death or detention for decades. Hezbollah had earlier confirmed that Ali Karaki, another senior commander, had died in Friday's strike that killed Nasrallah. Israel says that at least 20 other Hezbollah terrorist leaders have been killed in the strike, including 2 close associates of Nasrallah, one of whom was in charge of his security detail. And time to head into a very short break. When we come back, we'll get you all the action that we're tracking from the world of sports. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Quick Morning. Let's now take a look at the sports stories that we're tracking in this edition. A 2-0 win series over New Zealand followed a massive win by an innings and 154 runs in the second test at Sri Lanka. With this comprehensive win over New Zealand, Sri Lanka consolidated their position further. Though they remain in the third place, they have now improved their point percentage to 55.5%. The Bangladesh Cricket Board has unveiled the squad for the upcoming 3-match T20 International Series against India starting 6th of October in Gwalior. Notably, all-rounder Mehendi Hassan makes a comeback to the T20 International side after a 14-month absence. Al Sadd finished their preparations for the AFC Champions League Elite West game against Iran's Esteghlal Felix side. The 2011 AFC Champions League winners opened their continental campaign with a 1-1 draw against Al Ain of the UAE, while Esteghlal impressed in a 3-0 win against another Qatar side. Frankfurt secured all 3 points against Wolfsburg with a 3-0 win in the women's match. Sarah Donson converted from the spot just seconds before the halftime to put the home side ahead going into the break. Tadej Pogacar added a maiden road race world title to his overall victories in his year's Tour de France and Giro d'Italia, dominating the World Championships elite men's race in Switzerland. A third-place finisher in last year's race pulled clearer of the peloton with just over 100 km to go on 273.9 km ride from Winterthur, which culminated with 7 laps of course in Zurich. Angel Hidalgo secured his maiden title on the DP World Tour on Sunday after defeating fellow countryman John Ram on the second playoff hole to win his home event, the Open de España de Club in Madrid. Ram's chances of record 4th Spanish Open titles took a serious blow when he clubbed Boyd the 13th to fall back to 11 under, but he birdied 3 of his last 4 holes to card a 3 under 68. Ducati's Alvaro was once again in brilliant form in the FIM Superbike World Championship as he won race 2 in Aragon to add to his Super Pole win. Starting from pole, the Spaniard even took control from the start and won by 3 seconds from World Championship leader and teammate Nicola Bulega.
Team, because they helped me a lot during all the weekend, well, all the rounds, to give me again the confidence I missed at the beginning of the season with the bike. So I just can't be happy.
George Martin won the Grand Prix of Indonesia at the Mandalika circuit in Lombok on Sunday to extend his lead in the MotoGP Championship standings.
You said I got revenge from Mandalika. Last season was, after last season crash, today was a difficult race. After yesterday crash also. After 13 laps, I had some ghost on my mind.
Let's now take a look at all the action that we're tracking from the world of entertainment. Indian film actors and singers glammed up and walked the green carpet at the 24th International Indian Film Academy Awards in Abu Dhabi. The event celebrated South Indian cinema and honoured the talents of Hindi cinema. Vidhu Vinod Chopra won the Best Director award, while the performance in the leading role award went to Rani Mukherjee and Shah Rukh Khan for their role in Jawan. Bollywood actor Shah Rukh Khan also hosted the event.
And this year at IFA has been incredible, because we've really got the Indian film industry together. Whether it was Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Hindi, they all got the same platform.
Bollywood actors Amisha Patel appeared before the civil court in connection. She appeared before the court in connection with check bounce case. She appeared at the Court of Civil Seniors Division bench and has not pleaded guilty in the case. In fact, the case dates back to 2018, when Jharkhand-based film producer Ajay Kumar Singh registered a case of fraud and check bounce against the actor. According to the petitioner, Ajay Kumar Singh transferred 2.5 crore rupees to the actor's bank account for the production of a film titled Desi Magic. Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma is in news after Palak Sindhwani, known for the role Sonu Bhide, decided to exit from sitcom. After 5 years, the makers filed a case of breach of contract against Palak. Following the case, she leveled allegations against the makers, which included producer Asit Modi for harassing and mentally torturing her. She said that she had been accused of doing brand endorsements. However, she pointed out that other cast members endorsed the brands, but the makers called out only her. The actor even shared that she did not receive a copy of the contract until 12th of September this year, mentioning that the makers did not have any valid reason to stop her, owing to which they called out for endorsing the brands. Diljit Dosanjh currently touring his Dil Luminati Tour 2024 in Manchester. While performing, Diljit introduced his family to the world for the first time. Diljit even introduced his mother and sister to the fans. Videos of this heartfelt moment have taken the internet by storm. Videos of the heartfelt moment have taken the internet by storm. South Korean artists and the Kuwait performed at the Da Vinci Motel music event Sunday in Seoul. The Kuwait, which is one of the world's well-known rappers in South Korea, performed his hits including YGGR, and Real Time Sumni kicked off a performance with a band. The performance of Jeon T, which took place outside of Understage Music Hall, drew a big crowd. The Da Vinci Motel Note is a cultural event that is organized by Hyundai Card, where the audience can interact with leading figures in art, academia, business and technology through performances and forum, among others.